As promised, I watched Impact 1000. Didn't know it was a two-part event when I started it. It wasn't until like the middle of the show that I realized it was a two-part event because I was really angry. I haven't watched this show, especially the first, I don't know, about 30 minutes. I was very upset. I don't think it's going to get any better. But here's to 1,000 episodes of Impact. Hopefully the next 1,000 is much better than this. This is 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about Impact 1,000. Usually I only talk about Impact pay-per-views, but I figure this was going to be a huge episode of Impact that was going to bring back legends and a lot of new stuff was going to happen. And it turns out that this company just needs an exorcist. It needs to be sprinkled and doused in holy water. There is something uniquely dead within Impact. And I cannot say enough that this company needs to move into the future. That's what this was supposed to be about. I was told that this Impact 1000 was about the past, the present, and the future. But it seemed to be mostly about the past and the present. Like I didn't see any future for this show, having watched it all the way through. The video packages were fun. I will say that the video packages were fun. Reminds you of the good old days of TNA. And almost none of the people from those days are present. A lot of them are locked up in either AEW or WWE. So that's pretty much clear. So you can't blame them for not having, AJ Styles or Bobby Roode or, some of the other people that were important in the growth of Impact. At the same time, though, what they chose to do, I would not have done, because I think that there are certain elements of Impact that should have been really focused on. The X Division being number one. Like, the X Division got to main event the show, all right? And there's going to be an Ultimate X match next week. So they're going to do some focus on the X Division. But it was such an important part of the foundation of what Impact is. And on this show, because I'm not doing a review in order, they gave the title to Chris Sabin, who literally has been there forever and was just a champion like 3 or 4 months ago. Leo Rush ain't been champion that long. And so it became like this big crowning achievement that Chris Sabin is a 10-time X Division champion. Well, I look at this and say, well, that's easy if you're the only one that sticks around. They have such a difficult time building new stars in Impact. Of course, Chris Sabin is a 10-time X Division champion. But if you look at the history of the X Division, what the title meant, how it really formed the identity of what Impact was when I first saw it, that's what really caught my eye. It was so different. And I'm going to be a little bit of controversial here, but I think not having the 6-sided ring for the 1000 episode is a mistake. To me, the 6-sided ring is what caught a lot of people's attention for Impact, TNA. Not having that is a problem. I think that if you're going to do anything nostalgic on this show, the 6-sided ring for one night would have been perfectly fine. I don't suggest it in long term. I'm not saying long term do the 6-sided ring. I'm saying for one night, for one event, for your 1000th episode, you bring back the 6-sided ring. I mean, they brought back Feast or Fired. Feast or Fired. Oh, what a stupid idea that was. That was actually the first official match on the show. And it was a battle royal. It had like 15, 20 people in it. I don't remember Feast or Fire being this dumb, but then it's also a mid-road post-spike idea that Impact came up with that I was never really a big fan of. So there's 4 briefcases on poles around the ring. There's 15 people in the match or whatever. You have to get the briefcase and then not just come down with it like a regular ladder match or something like that. You have to also escape the ring with it. So this would come into play at the very end where a guy pulled the briefcase down, but then he was attacked. He dropped the briefcase and Moose picked it up. That's how Moose managed to get a briefcase. But each briefcase has a championship match in it. World title match, X Division title, tag team title. And then the fourth briefcase is a pink slip, means that you're fired. So either you get a championship match or you get fired. You have 3 opportunities at a championship match or you get canned. It's interesting, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I don't think I like the concept. It just feels like it's a lot for really, really, really undercard guys. And they had some, I wouldn't say solid talent. They had like Sami Callihan in here and Moose and people that they were pushing recently have been in this, where it was in this match, when it felt like it would have been a match that would better fit people who are barely on the show. You know, like guys like a Bhupinder Gujjar, who was also in this match, but it seemed like a better fit for a guy like him than a guy like, you know, Sami Callihan or Rich Swann or something like that. But I can't believe I'm talking about them like they're top guys. In any event, the 4 briefcases were won by Chris Bay. You know, he won the number 3 briefcase. Crazy Steve, who won the number 1 briefcase. Yuya Uemura won the number 4 briefcase, and Moose won the number 2 briefcase. So one of these guys are going to get fired. The other 3 are going to get championship matches. Here's hoping Chris Bay gets the world title match, because that's the only thing that can save this mess. Hopefully. And I'm still kind of on the fence about Chris Bay because he says he's never watched a Bret Hart match. Hopefully that's changed since he said it. But if he hasn't, I hope him nothing but a lifetime of stomach aches. In any event, Feast or Fire, it was a battle royal with crazy stuff happening. It was, you know, people getting power bombed all over the place. I wasn't enthralled, if we're being honest. But to me, instead of doing something like this, it might have been better to do something X Division related. And I know they're doing it next week, but Impact, its very foundation is the X Division, not goofy stuff like this. Now, what they think the foundation of Impact is the Knockouts division, which is the second thing, the third thing I think of when I think of TNA. I think of the 6-sided ring, the X Division, and the Knockouts. So they gave the Knockouts maybe the first 25 minutes of the episode to cut a promo where pretty much everybody who's ever wrestled in this company and has boobs, whether they're real or not, whether they're female or not, popped up. I got so frustrated by the time this thing was over. I was basically about ready to fast forward. The point of this was that Gail Kim came out to talk about the importance of the Knockouts division and about, you know, raising the bar and how the Knockouts were the difference between them and other wrestling companies, basically WWE, at the same time. She then got accosted by the beautiful people after the video package played. They did a good video package on the Knockouts division. The beautiful people did their gimmick, their Mean Girls gimmick about how everybody except them were ugly. They did some really funny jokes where, well, one of them was a funny joke. One, I guess you could say. Where a Velvet Sky said it looks like the security cam at a Walmart, which I thought that was humorous. There should have been more clips of them in the video package. So they go back and forth with Gail Kim after she called them obnoxious bitches. Then we started seeing a parade of other people come out here. Giselle Shaw, Deonna Purrazzo, Jordan Grace, Tasha Steelz, Awesome Kong, Mickie James. They all just came out there and basically they were forming a team. They were forming teams of baby faces and heels, of course. And they're going to have a 10-woman tag next week. You could have just booked the 10-woman tag and saved us all of this crap. This promo segment was awful. It was awful. It was no good. And I think they even had cheerleader Melissa as the, whatever the woman in garb was for Awesome Kong and everything. As far as I'm concerned, you could have broken this 10-woman tag up into smaller matches to really highlight the Knockouts division. I get it, some of the older women, like, you know, Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, they're not trying to go out there and take 100 bumps. This is a one-off match, you know. They don't want to do too much. So, okay, I get why you want to do maybe a 6-woman tag or something like that with some of the older women in it and feature some of the younger girls. What younger girls? But maybe there's some of the younger girls in it. And maybe just use Gail Kim and Awesome Kong as sort of the draw for that match. But then you just have the other 2 girls, the other 4, because it would be a 6-woman tag, do all the bumps and then a little something between Gail Kim and Awesome Kong, and then that would be it. But having literally all of these people involved, I don't know. I get wanting to center Gail Kim, Mickie James, and Awesome Kong. They are the 3 important ones. Wanting to focus on them, okay, fine. I like that idea. But Tasha Steelz getting microphone time like she matters in this company. She ain't even been there in weeks. I don't even know where the hell she's been. You know, so at least all the knockouts were there. You know, at least, you know, quite a few of the important knockouts actually showed up. You can't say the same thing for the guys. You know, AJ Styles is in WWE, Jeff Hardy's in AEW. They're not, you know, Bobby Roode's in WWE. You know, they're not coming to Impact. But at least they got some of the women. And I felt like they basically wasted the women's time with this 10-woman tag thing. And then, of course, I saw the video of Gail Kim getting her cage rattled. To a better person, it couldn't happen because Gail Kim is not so good. Not good at all, actually. But whatever. I mean, she's a good wrestler, but other than that, she's not really good at anything else. And outside of being painfully Canadian and thus Scott D'Amore's favorite person, because for some reason this company is just super Canadian. I don't understand why. But it was good seeing the beautiful people. It was fine. Deonna Purrazzo was good as usual. Jordan Grace, fine. Mickie James, I love Mickie James. Trinity came out there. She sounded nervous. And I don't know why when Trinity was talking, she always sounds nervous. Like she's been in front of bigger crowds than this. She'd probably had birthday parties with more people in it than this Impact 1000 episode. But she sounded nervous, like she was on the stage at a high school or something, in a high school play. But from what I read, they're leading up to Mickie James versus Trinity at Bound for Glory. I like that idea. I love that idea, actually. That's great. Maybe we should have done that. Maybe we should have built up that. Maybe we should have just had Gail Kim introduce Trinity, who's like the person carrying the torch for the Impact, for the Knockouts now. And since it's about the past, the present, and the future, Gail Kim can represent the past, and you can bring out Mickie James, who could say she's the present, and then you could say Trinity is the future, and, you know, they can have their thing, and it could just be you build up to their match, and maybe even have Trinity defend the Knockouts title at this 1000th episode against somebody from the past, or, you know, if Gail Kim wanted to have one more match, have a short match with Trinity, you know, Trinity versus Awesome Kong, or, you know, Trinity versus Velvet Sky, or, you know, Angelina Love, or something like that. I think would have been a better showcase of the Knockouts than this fiasco here, because this was terrible. This promo thing was awful. It was not good. It was so bad, in fact, that after this and the Feast or Fired, I literally cut it off, went to bed, and then came back and finished it the next day. It was that bad. I was like, this sucks. I just couldn't sit all the way through it. It was just no good. Not good at all. Now, also, when I think about Impact, I do think about America's Most Wanted. And they were on the show, but they were in like a backstage segment hanging out with Eric Young. Eric Young is absolutely dressing like Scanner all of a sudden, where he's like always in a short sleeve shirt. And I'm just like, ugh, he looks so normal. It's a wrestling show, guys. Come on. I don't know. So they didn't really do anything with America's Most Wanted. So you had James Storm on the show, but you didn't do anything with them. Stupid. Chris Harris, I understand, but James Storm is on the show. You didn't do anything with them. It makes no sense. They had Shark Boy as a sheriff, so he's going around making matches. I'm like, ugh. I always hated Shark Boy. I was never a big fan of Shark Boy, but I understand why he's there, and I understand why you would utilize him, because he is one of those characters that is synonymous with Impact. And if you watched Impact during the past, you would have run into Shark Boy quite a bit. So I get it. I understand it. So then they had the Desi Hit Squad. They came out there. I was like, oh my goodness. Rohit Raju. Man. He sucks. I mean, he really does. But he, of course, came out and how could you have 1,000 episodes without the Desi Hit Squad? I'm like, easily. They had like 800 episodes without the Desi Hit Squad. So I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy. So then their opponents for the Desi, which is Champagne Singh and Rohit Raju, that's the Desi Hit Squad. Their opponents were Team 3D, which is the generic brand Dudley Boys. And Devon Dudley actually worked a match. I was surprised to see that. I was surprised because I know he just had like a major surgery. I'm not sure if it was his back. I'm not sure if it was his neck. But it was like within the last couple of years, he had a major career-ending surgery. And he said he was never going to wrestle again. He got into the ring for this match and he was basically in tears. He's very thankful for to be there. Very thankful for the people. They're chanting Team 3D, Team 3D, Team 3D. I'm just kind of like, no. I always hated the name Team 3D. The guys were always fine except for when Bubba ballooned to like 500 pounds. But the guys were always fine. It's the name that sucks. I know they couldn't use the Dudley Boys name because of WWE, but Jesus. Team 3D? That sucks. Anyway, they beat the Desi Hit Squad. They put Rohit Raju through a table. Interesting enough about all of this is that Devon also did an interview where he talked about, backstage at WWE, there was somebody there who didn't like him because he was black. And he didn't want to say who it was. Everybody thinks it's Michael Hayes, and I think it's a pretty good guess that it's Michael Hayes. It's a pretty good guess that is Michael Hayes. But he always felt like, somebody was holding him back, and there was somebody back there who didn't like him just because he was black. But he didn't want to say who it was. It's strange that story comes out now, especially since he worked there for so long. But I guess when you get asked about racism, you can always come up with something because, there's always these little things that appear that you can. Now, he says that he was told straight to his face that I don't like you because you're black. I don't know if there's that kind of racism in today's world. That's a very rare statement. Like, that's kind of crazy. If he says it happened, I don't know. He's not known for being a race car guy. But I just think like that kind of cartoonish racism, you really only see that on TV shows. So if somebody was that stupid, I don't see how they can continue to have a job. I don't see how you can sue the fucking company at that point. I'd sue them. And I'm not even like a race grifter or anything like that. So that happened. So the Rascals, who were supposed to be serious now, they're supposed to be serious guys and no more getting high, chilling out in the treehouse. They were giggling and eating pizza and other assorted snacks in the hallway where Dad, Josh Alexander, told them to clean up behind themselves. And I guess they threw something at him, like a banana peel or orange peel or something at his head. They told him, they said their hands were full. So why don't he clean up? So he picked Trey's bag up and threw it. Then he dared them to fight him, and then they didn't, even though it was only one of him. He then came out and cut a promo, talked about being an Impact fan for 21 years. He found this company when he was 15 years old, and he's going to get back his world title. He goes back and forth with Alex Shelley, who ends up coming out there. Alex Shelley says that, you're welcome because I have been here the entire time in Impact. I built this company for you to come in and be a world champion. And Josh Alexander thanked him, but then said that he was the guy that has been carrying the company the last 4 years so that Alex Shelley could have a company to come back to, because Alex Shelley took some time off. I think he was going to college or something like that, even at his advanced age. I guess he had not planned on being a wrestler full-time his whole life, but he took some time off. Now, in terms of the conversation, you wouldn't have been able to put a gun to my head to get me to come out here and say that I was a fan of Impact for 20 years or whatever. I watched this show extremely casually. I've always watched Impact extremely casually. I watch it more than most people. I talk about it far more than other people. But I've never been a Impact historian. I'm about to go and get my, I just never been that kind of guy. So for you to be like, I've been a fan for 21 years. I'm like, what? I don't know. I watch a lot of wrestling. I've watched quite a bit of Impact. I wouldn't say I've been a fan for 21 years. I mean, there are some shows and some matches that I really liked, but I'm extremely casual when it comes to Impact. I'm glad it's still around, though, but I'm extremely casual when it comes to Impact. But I did like the back and forth between Josh Alexander and Alex Shelley, where Alex Shelley says, I built this company. You got to accept that you're not the world champion anymore. While Josh Alexander is saying, like, hey, you got to accept that I'm the future and I've been carrying this company for 4 years. That's fine. The problem is, I don't think these two guys are the guys for your future. Again, the theme was past, present, and future. In this situation, you had the past, Alex Shelley, the present, Josh Alexander. I don't know if Trey Miguel is the future. I don't know, but the Rascals attacked Josh Alexander during this, and Alex Shelley did not help him. He just basically turned around and walked off. So I guess this was kind of, I don't know if you would call it a heel turn, as much as he doesn't feel like he owes Josh Alexander anything. And clearly they're not going to do, I don't know what they're going to do in terms of the Rascals next week. I have no idea. I didn't read the spoilers. But Ethan Page is not going to be there. So they're not going to wrestle the North. So the question is, what's going to happen? And I think, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to do this from memory, that they're going to do Trey Miguel versus Josh Alexander one-on-one. I guess that's fine. But Trey Miguel is one of those guys that's been there for several years now. You would think he would be higher up on the food chain. He's not. Very unfortunate, if we're being honest. People who are going up higher on the food chain for no apparent reason when they should be out the door is Eddie Edwards and Frankie Kazarian. I mean, they're the feud that literally never ends. So they had another match. Eddie Edwards and his wife versus Kazarian and his wife, Tracy Brooks. So Kazarian and Tracy Brooks versus Alicia and Eddie Edwards. This was, I guess, hopefully the blow-off match to this feud that has been seemingly going on forever. It's the feud that never ends. And so Alicia Edwards is pinned by Tracy Brooks. Tracy Brooks uses Kazarian's finish. After the match, it's announced that Tracy Brooks will also be getting introduced and inducted into the Impact Hall of Fame. Very cool. You know, they're billing her as the original Knockout. So Tracy Brooks, along with Don West and Mike Tenay, will be your Impact induction in the Hall of Fame. I don't know enough about Tracy Brooks' impact on Impact, you know, to argue against whether she should be there or not. I'll just say thumbs up. It's fine. If that's how you feel, if you feel like she's an Impact wrestling legend, okay, fine. That's fine with me. I can't debate it because I wasn't paying attention. I'm not even gonna hold you up. I didn't pay that close attention to the Knockouts division, despite the fact that these women, you know, are getting a lot of credit for it. The last thing would be Tommy Dreamer cutting a promo, but who cares about that? Now, one thing that was that popped up in the newswire is that Rhino is now a producer in Impact. So he's not just a wrestler; he's also a producer. And if that keeps him off my television, then that works for me. I am for 100% getting rid of everybody over the age of 40 in Impact. If you are over the age of 40, they should forcefully retire you in Impact. When it comes to wrestling companies needing and their own identity, the reason I go so hard on Impact is because it's literally in a space where too many people try very, very hard to go to WWE and they don't make it. And then the people who don't make it typically end up in AEW, or the people who are fired from WWE end up in AEW. But then there's people who can't make it into AEW. There's people who are undercard talent in AEW. They're probably better paid than they would be in Impact. But you have to offer something to get better talent on this show. When you're still booking shows around Gail Kim 15 years later, you're still booking shows around Alex Shelley, you're still booking main events around Chris Sabin, when the highlight of your show is the Dudley Boys, I mean, you have to ask the question is, what is the future for this company? Again, past, present, and future. What is the future of this company? And I really am legitimately shrugging like, I don't know. I don't see them really investing in anybody or anything for the future. And it's very unfortunate because Impact as a company has so much lineage. And that's actually one of the many things I think about when I think about Impact is how they took the opportunity on guys like AJ Styles and guys like Austin Aries and guys like a young Chris Sabin and guys like Kazarian when he was in WWE being a knucklehead and he got fired or he quit. I don't remember how that went. And he ended up in TNA. And guys like Mr. Anderson or Mr. Kennedy or whatever. And those guys having somewhere to go. That's really the alternative. That was one of the real elements of Impact. And I felt like it was missing, Also, there's people who are important to Impact. I think a message from Mike Tenay would have been, I know they're going to do the Hall of Fame thing. But if he did like a video package talking about the early days, that would have been great. Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett, those kinds of people should have been involved in some way, even if it's just via video package to talk about the 1,000 episodes and, what it meant to start this company or help it further go along. That kind of stuff would have mattered quite a bit. I just felt like it was a very lackluster celebration of 1,000 episodes, and they certainly could have done better. And I think most fans feel like they could have done better. I know like a lot of Impact fans, they're just very glad at the unproblematic nature of the company, that there's no backstage fights, there's no boss playing grab ass, there's nothing like that. There's no Vince McMahon or no CM Punk, so everything's very quiet on the Impact front. That's just how they like it. But for me, that makes the company kind of boring because it's like there's nothing happening over there. It's like, it sounds like it might be fun, but then you peek and you're like, it ain't fun at all, actually. It's music playing, but you see most people are wallflowers. You need to get this thing moving around. And I don't know how you do it. I'm just throwing ideas out there. But as promised, Impact 1000 is in the book. I probably will do a part 2 because hopefully the second part is better. Hopefully. So this was just part 1. Let me know what you guys thought of the show if you watched it, and I'll talk to you guys later.